The U.S. Treasury just recently said the most shocking thing that has ever been said about money. It could be something so huge that it could instantly change the whole world's banking system. Even though the major news outlets are still trying to figure out what happened, people who were there are already calling it the Great Monetary Revaluation. All of the XRP funds will be used to back the next version of the US dollar. This is the digital currency that people have been talking about for a long time. According to a statement released by the US Treasury, the world's main currency is actually going back to being backed by assets for the first time since 1971. There is no real estate, cash, or oil, though. This is XRP. Another thing is that the internal treasury calculated that the backing ratio needs an XRP price of about $5 million per coin to stay in sync with the US dollar's total monetary base. You can't guess what will happen in this case. This has nothing to do with math. From the moment the Secretary of the Treasury spoke to Congress this morning, the room was filled with energy. There were people sitting in every spot. There were many cameras rolling, and there was the same question in every word. RP is YX. The Secretary said that it was clear that no traditional asset could provide the liquidity, scalability, and instant global settlement that are needed to keep the dollar stable in the new digital economy. This was after a secret audit of the Federal Reserve's balance sheet and the international debt markets over the course of a year. It used too much energy for Bitcoin to work. Gold took too much time, and oil prices went up and down too much. XRP was the only cryptocurrency that had the technology, was open, and could join tokenized assets and fiat currencies on a large scale. In other words, XRP wasn't just picked. That being said, it was the only option that would work. That was the start of a whole new era, putting the world's banking system in touch with the best digital asset. The president signed a secret order into law behind closed doors. Behind closed doors, the deal was signed. It gives an explanation of the Digital Reserve Act, which is also known as Executive Directive 1409. This paper has the seal of the U.S. Treasury Administration on it. It talks about a complete change in the basis of the American monetary structure. Section 3.1.1 of the paper says that the United States will set up a strategic repository of digital settlement assets right away. The United States dollar will stay stable thanks to XRP, which will be the main digital reserve currency. Analysts say that this instruction is similar to Executive Order 6102, which was made in 1933. Changed the worth of gold to help the economy get back on its feet after the Great Depression. The only thing that is different is that this time the government will be taking XRP instead of gold. They plan to do this by making private purchases, signing agreements, doing foreign seas swaps, and working with big banks to open up more liquidity corridors. There is no doubt that the plan is to get enough XRP to back up all US dollars before the rest of the world does the same thing. It is possible to compare the M1 and M2 money supplies are made up of cash, saving accounts, and assets that are almost ready to be cashed in. There are also 100 billion coins in circulation right now. There is a secret report from the Treasury Department that makes this comparison. The report has data charts that only the public can see. The ending really blows my mind. The price of each currency would have to hit about $1.55 million for XRP to support even the M1 supply. That number would have to hit $5 million in order to cover the whole M2 money stock. It's not a joke. A balance sheet is shown in this case. The United States needs to make sure that each dollar is backed by a certain amount of XRP that is kept in stock if they want to have a currency that is fully backed by assets. Also, because there can never be more than 100 billion XRP in circulation, the price will have to go through the roof for everything to be equal. This is the base that the Great Correction is built on. People are moving real and digital money on a scale that has never been seen before in history. There's people who know about the Treasury say that the first steps of this transition have already started. Reports say that big banks like JP Morgan, Citibank, and Wells Fargo have been told to use over-the-counter methods to turn some of their cash assets into XRP. This is done so as not to mess up markets that are already open. Since the situation needs to stay secret, these deals are going through offshore companies in global financial hubs like London, Dubai, and Singapore. Another thing that Ripple Labs does is work directly with the United States Treasury Department and the International Monetary Fund to build what they're calling the Digital Dollar Liquidity Bridge. This settlement layer will allow real-time links between the XRP record and the new digital currency that the Federal Reserve is putting out. This bridge will make it possible for central banks, commercial banks, and institutions that do business across foreign borders to pay back their debts right away. They will not have to go through middlemen, pay fees, or wait. Ripple has been working toward this goal for more than 10 years. Now, the world's biggest bank has now given its approval to the suggestion. The effects are so big that they are almost hard to understand. Not long from now, XRP should be able to be used to settle all foreign trade, all debt instruments, and all government bonds. A new technical and financial system is taking the place of the petrodollar system, which was built on oil and military power. This new system is backed by a digital reserve asset that can move at the speed of light. Banks will no longer have to make new dollars in order to keep the flow of money around the world going. Instead, for that, it will depend on how much XRP is currently being used in the Treasury's digital reserve system. Because of this, the Treasury Department has secretly labeled XRP as a strategic financial product, which means it is subject to the same security rules as uranium and other important defense technologies. At the moment, it's not just a cryptocurrency aura. There it is, a tool for protecting national security. On top of that, some people think that governments in other countries, like Japan, Switzerland, and Saudi Arabia, are planning their own change events. There are already stories going around the internet. I got a private message from the Bank for International Settlements confirming that payment systems around the world are being brought into sync in preparation for a planned reset that will happen at the start of the next fiscal quarter. All fiat currencies will have their prices changed to match the new normal price for XRP when this event happens. This means that the value of all currencies, from the euro to the yen, will change based on how much of their reserves are kept in XRP. The old banking system is slowly falling apart, and a new digital standard is being set up in its place. Things are going from bad to worse right now. Treasury officials have said that XRP will not be available on retail platforms after the revaluation is done. This limit will go into effect right away. There will be a name for it, a sovereign-backed settlement token. This means that only approved financial institutions will be able to use it directly to settle transactions. Smaller buyers no longer have the chance to buy, not because of the rules, but because of the significant revaluation. The normal person will not be able to buy even a single XRP. It's more because of the price. If the value of one XRP coin even tenths of what people think it will be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's the way it works. This happens when the world's strongest currency is backed by the world's most flexible asset. Think of the Treasury as a digital savings bank to help you make better decisions.